Hi guys, I'm back, and I wanted to talk in this video about the polygraph test that Dawn and Candace have taken. And if you'll watch until the end, there's a person at the end of this video that might be able to explain how they were able to pass the polygraph even if they weren't telling the truth. But getting back to it, I heard the other day another channel was talking, and I don't want to say which one, I'm sure everybody knows, that Dawn and Candace had taken multiple polygraphs. I know what's been reported, but I'm just saying this is what this creator had said that Dawn told her, that they had taken multiple. Dawn took one, failed it, and then took another, passed it. Candace took two, failed both, and then took another one and passed it. First, I would like to know what agency out here is going to keep giving people polygraph tests until they pass them. I've never heard tell of you taking multiple polygraph tests and keep getting them until you pass it. It doesn't happen, but according to Don, evidently this is what happened, which doesn't surprise me. He gets away with all kinds of stuff. So just another one to chalk up on the list. There's been so many different versions of when Summer went missing and the time frame. First, it was 6:30 that she disappeared, and then Don says he thought it was at 5:30, and then it was reported again on when Candace was on someone else's channel that she started looking for her at 4:30. Ronnie Lawson himself, in a video that I'm going to show, says that I believe he said that they reported it at 6:30, but they had been looking for her prior to that. And when someone asked the question, why did they not call us, and he said, well, they had already been looking for the baby themselves, is why they didn't get it reported until later. So pay attention to the times and things, and try to calculate, the time frame, because at the end of the video, time and telling the truth really does play a big part in taking a polygraph test. So at the end, let me know what your thoughts are. Leave a comment and like and subscribe, guys. And here's the first video.
On the afternoon that Summer went missing. One of you asked us in a previous briefing the standard amount of time it takes for a case like this to be resolved. While every case is different, this one is definitely outside of the norm. Typically, in an investigation like this one, we have some idea of where the case is headed and what might have happened within a few days. In this situation, despite doing everything within our power and exploring all avenues, the circumstances leading to Summer's disappearance remain unclear. I understand the lack of answers frustrates you in the public, but trust me, no one is more frustrated than we are.
Okay, in this next video, this is the one I was talking about when Ronnie Lawson said that the parents were already looking for her before calling 911. Sounds a little strange to me, seeing how everything that has been reported, but that's what he says.
Her parents reported her missing. It was right around 6:30 p.m.
But when was she, did they say when she was last seen? I know that she was reported missing around that time, but was she last seen earlier in the afternoon or in the day even?
That time is varied because they were searching for their child themselves.
I have a question for Captain too. Just wanted to see, are you asking for assistance?
Here's the actual, the response to the 911 call.
Being residence on your right, reference to a missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in, advised that the mother had went for a walk, came home, now they can't find her. They've been yelling for her. She's been gone for about 10 minutes now.
And here in this interview by Dawn, or of Dawn, He states that Candace goes to the basement, starts looking for the baby, but the door was unlocked and evidently Summer just went out the door and she was just gone.
So when her mother come in, she says, "Where's Summer?" She went down in the basement. She didn't answer, so she went down there and she was gone. So she went out the basement door, which was unlocked, and we haven't seen her since.
Okay, we're almost to the end of the video, and this last video clip is like a minute or two long. I want to let you all know, yes, I believe in psychics. No, I don't have a whole lot of faith in the psychics that have been working on this case. But the psychic part of this is not the issue. In this video clip, it's from the Nancy Grace Mysteries. And if you'll listen and pay attention, in this clip, the psychic is telling how she had told the police that the victim had died at a certain time. And when they gave the man his polygraph test, they were under the understanding that the victim had died at about 11 o'clock and not 3 something when she had actually passed. So they asked him the wrong questions. They asked, I'm not sure what they asked, but basically they asked him where he was at 11 and if he told the truth. I was at the grocery store, I was at home, I was at my friend's house at 11 o'clock. He most certainly could have been at those places, and that therefore he would have passed his polygraph test because he was telling the truth. But later on, when they go and redo the polygraph and they ask him, where were you at 3 o'clock? Then he fails the test. Did they ask Dawn and Candace the wrong questions? Is maybe that why they passed their polygraph test? Do you think they need to go in and redo the polygraph again and include certain questions about the time frame that this baby went missing? Do you think that's why they passed the polygraph? Let me know. Like, subscribe, and comment. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video.
And that I would be happy to help out. And I got a call immediately, I think the next day, from then Captain David Heater out of the prosecutor's office. And I recognized the voice and the name from 5 years before when I worked on a case of an unsolved murder.
And then what happened?
And he asked me if I would come out, and I went to the crime scene. It was still a crime scene. And as I walked in, it was a first-floor apartment, and at the landing to the first floor, I looked up the staircase, and I said, "The murderer lives upstairs." And he looked at me, and he said, "Well, there's a 19-year-old." I said, "No, it's not him. There's an adult male."
Wait. You walked in to the building.
The apartment building, the landing, and I saw up the stairs a sense of a murderer. I didn't see anything. I saw energy that told me it's the murderer up there. And then I got a vision as I walked into Elizabeth's living room where I saw 5'10", reddish brown hair, scar on his right cheek, Western belt buckle. And I went to the bedroom. I didn't tell them at the time. Went to the bedroom where she was murdered. And I described the rape and the murder in details. And they looked at me, and true to how sometimes they would speak, they'd say, "Confirm. Confirm. Confirm." I said, "Okay, let's go back to headquarters and talk." So we went back, and I went over what I felt was the murderer. And I said, "He killed her probably around 3 a.m. or so." And they said, "No, she was killed around 11. I said, "No, she was killed around 3. And they looked at me and said, "Well, there's a man living upstairs." I said, "First name John?" They said, "Yes." I said, "Last name begins with the letter R, single syllable." They said, "Reese is his last name." I said, "That's him." And they looked at me and said, "Do you remember speaking about him before?" I said, no, but he's a serial murderer, and he's tried to kill before, and he's killed before. And
Now, what she could not possibly know at the time is that Reese passed a polygraph.
He did, yes, he
He passed a polygraph, but you believed he was the
I had
killer.
no-
and
and-
listen,
right.
I'm a great believer in polygraphs. Okay, go ahead.
And they were too, because they had the expert in our state, Jerry Lewis, who had never made a mistake. And he was wonderful. And they said, but he passed a polygraph.
But let me guess. Based on the incorrect time of death, they asked the wrong questions so he could give a truthful answer and pass the polygraph.
Exactly. Exactly. And then Dave or somebody else looked at me and said, well, you're describing him again for the second time in 5 years. I said, well, he is. And I said, but it's him. And they said, well, he doesn't have a scar. He doesn't wear a Western belt buckle. And I looked at them and I said, you're blind. Go back and look. I said, and if he does, then think about what I just said, please. So they went back and looked and saw the scar and saw the Western belt buckle. And then the autopsy report came back. It was about 10 days after death. And it showed she died, I think, at 3:15 a.m. And they looked at each
they
other.
determined that by the last meal
Right.
or the degree of morbidity
Right.
in the limbs.
Exactly. And so Dave Heater and Sergeant Tom Trainer from the state police decided to bring him back in. And they brought him back in, they videoed it. They had no evidence. I told them that there would be a hammer that she was killed with and that it would be in a swamp. I drew where the swamp was. They went and found a hammer with blood on it. It wasn't her blood. Nobody ever did anything to find out if it matched anything else.
But they found the hammer.
And he lived upstairs.
Did he ever confess?
Fully. On video.
Okay, just taking a psychic's word of her own ability.